story of an 8-pointer I killed in Georgia with my bow in December. Most people kill good bucks in November during the rut, but this one I got in December, which is a little bit harder to do. But this buck I actually got pictures of back in September. When I saw the pictures of him, I thought, wow, what a spread on this one. It was this 8-pointer, another 10-pointer that were in there. And in order to keep them in there, I went and put my feeder in there. And when I put that feeder in there, they disappeared. I mean, I didn't get any deer for like a week. And finally, some does started coming in. But at that point, I took my feeder out and put it somewhere else and started hunting other bucks. And this 8-pointer, I didn't see him the entire month of October or November. But in December, he showed back up. So this buck I had nicknamed Bent Brow because one of his brow tines was kind of bent over a little bit. And he started showing up in December, like I said, and started getting pictures of him. So I went in and started putting a whole bunch of corn out there to try to keep him coming in. This time I put it on the ground instead of in a feeder. And this property it's another small tract by a road and then a river and a couple subdivisions nearby. So I don't have a whole lot of options as far as where to go to find these bucks. But I put up a hang-on stand back off about 25 yards. I felt like it gave me enough cover. And this area's got a lot of holly trees, those green, dark green, waxy leaves where it's just really prevented a lot of shot angles and a lot of visibility. But this one I felt was the best stand, and also I could approach it coming from my truck instead of walking into the area where the corner of the camera was. And so I felt like it was a good spot. So on the 17th of December, this buck came in right about shooting light in the morning. And then the 10-pointer came in at shooting light in the evening. So I thought, I'm going to hunt this spot till I find him. And the thing about the 8-pointer, he was coming in right at dawn and dusk, right close to shooting light. So I thought, okay, there's a chance here. So I got in there on the 18th, got up in my stand, and I'm just sitting there. I didn't think, well, I'm not going to see anything till 5:30 or 6 o'clock. It got dark around 6. And I'm sitting down, looking at my phone, which I probably shouldn't have been. But anyway, I heard crunch, crunch. I look up, and there's the 8-pointer. I couldn't believe it. And so I slowly stood up and got ready for the shot. And he was real skittish. He ran off a couple yards and he'd come back. And the second time he did, he came walking in, and he was kind of angling towards me, a 1/4-2 shot. And not an ideal shot, but I'm thinking, this deer's skittish. If he catches my scent, if I make a noise, he's gone. So I thought, I'm going to take the 1/4-2 shot. So I drew back. I put the pins on the high forward shoulder, hoping to angle down through his chest. I shot, he whirled off, took off. And at the time of the shot, I'm thinking, did I get a little bit far back? Because if it got a little to the left, that means I got gut. I thought, oh, I'm not so sure about that. So gave it 30 minutes, walked down, looked at the arrow, and it was covered in blood. So the arrow had good blood on it, and I followed the blood trail for about 30 yards or so. At that point, I wasn't sure about the hit, so I thought, I'm going to come back and follow the trail in the morning. It's going to be cold that night. I think it was around 30 degrees. And my fear was if I pushed him and he crossed the river and went on to another property, I have a much harder time finding him. And it was already about dark at that point. I'd rather track in the daylight. So I went back out and went home and talked to some friends of mine. One of them volunteered to come help me, Frank. So we came back out the next morning and picked up the blood trail and were following it. And it was a lot better than I hoped. And we were following the blood trail, went along the river there. And we went maybe 100 yards. I looked up, and there he was laying there dead. It's December 19th, 2022. I just found a buck I call Bent Brow, wide 8-pointer in Grant County. Shot him last night and found him after about 100 yards. And there's Frank helping me out.
Congratulations, Eric.
So the buck was an 8-pointer. He was 19 2/8 inches inside spread, and I scored him at 135 inches, netted 131, and a field dress around 130 pounds. I think he's kind of run down from the rut, but I'm putting the pictures of the entry and the exit hole where I shot him. I shot him on his right side, and it went in the ribs and then came out the other side. And I originally thought I got a little too far back, but evidently I didn't, because I found him after 100 yards, and the air had gone right through him and evidently done enough damage to him. So it was a successful hunt, and glad to get my second buck tag in Georgia in December.